Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into some truly fascinating data today. Depending on your age, the numbers we're about to uncover are either going to make you feel incredibly validated or maybe a little deeply uncomfortable. But hey, that's exactly why we're doing this, right? We're going to unpack what these financial milestones actually mean for you in the real world. And more importantly, we're going to look at how you can use this baseline data to take complete control of your financial future. Let's get right into it. So honestly ask yourself right now, where do you think you rank compared to every other American your exact age? Do you feel like you're pulling ahead of the pack, or are you constantly kind of worried that you're lagging behind? Well, by the end of this explainer, you are going to find out your true ranking. And I can almost guarantee you the truth is probably not what you expect. I mean, it rarely is when it comes to money, right? Now, the financial world is full of these massive illusions. For example, according to the Federal Reserve's latest survey of consumer finances, the average American household has a net worth of just over $1 million. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch. That number is wildly misleading. Let's shatter that illusion right now and look at the true benchmark for everyday, normal people, the median net worth. And that sits at just $193,000. So why the massive difference? Well, think about it like this. If you put 99 regular middle-class folks in a room with, say, Elon Musk, the average net worth of that room suddenly shoots up to billions of dollars. But the median, the person standing exactly in the middle of the line, stays completely grounded in reality. The billionaire totally skews the average, while the median stays the exact same. So from here on out, we are strictly focusing on the median, because that is your real honest reality check.
Section 1, the starting line, ages 18 to 34.
Okay, if you're under 35, brace yourself. The median net worth for this group is exactly $39,000. But let's actually dig into the why here. For a massive chunk of people in their 20s, that number is actually negative. Why? Because of the incredibly heavy anchor of student loan debt. When you graduate, you often owe tens of thousands of dollars before you've even cashed your first real professional paycheck. So if you're sitting there with a negative net worth in your 20s, listen to me. You have absolutely nothing to panic about. It is completely normal because almost nobody has built real wealth yet. You're literally just at the starting line, getting your footing in the adult world.
Section 2, gaining ground, ages 35 to 44.
Once we enter the mid-30s to mid-40s, things really start to shift gears. This is the life stage where panic often turns into actual planning. People are putting down roots, they're buying their first homes, they're working on maxing out those retirement accounts, and they are finally starting to feel the magic of compound interest really kick in. It's a decade of serious financial foundation building. But remember our rule about averages versus medians? The normal person right in the middle is steadily building, sure, but they are still nowhere near that wildly skewed millionaire average we talked about earlier. Section 3, the Great Divide, ages 45 to 54. Now, this is where a staggering gap emerges in the data. For people in their 50s, the average net worth absolutely explodes to over $1.36 million. But wait, look at the median, the true middle of the pack. It's only $180,000 and 227 cents. Let that completely sink in for a second. Half of all people in their 50s have less than $180,000 to their name. So why does this incredible divide happen? Well, it usually comes down to the snowball effect of compounding wealth for top earners, combined with the really unfortunate reality that a lot of middle-class wages tend to stagnate, or they just struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living during these exact same years. The gap just widens dramatically. I want to speak directly to you for a second here. If you are in your 50s and you're sitting there with less than $180,000, you are not behind. You are completely normal. So take a deep breath, release that anxiety you've been carrying around, and let's keep exploring what the data actually tells us. Section 4, peak earning and wealth, ages 55 to 74. From ages 55 to 64, we enter peak earning territory. At this stage, careers are at their absolute most mature. People often have the highest level of professional seniority they're ever going to reach. And then from ages 65 to 74, we hit the true wealth peak for most Americans. The median net worth climbs to roughly $410,000. Think about why this happens. Usually, the kids are finally out of the house, right? They're financially independent, mortgages are either fully paid off or they're getting super close, and decades of steady retirement contributions have reached their absolute maximum size before they get heavily tapped into. It takes a lifetime of patience, but that long-term growth is undeniable. To put it in perspective, that $410,000 is more than 10 times what the median was back at our starting line in our 20s.
Section 5, the drawdown, ages 75 and up.
Then, An incredibly interesting chronological shift happens post 75. Net worth actually starts to drop. The data shows average wealth falling to around $1.62 million. Logically, this makes perfect sense, right? People stop working and they step away from generating income. But digging a little deeper, there's a real emotional reality here. It is psychologically very difficult to transition from saving aggressively for 40 years to suddenly spending down the nest egg you spent decades building. But, required withdrawals from retirement accounts kick in, everyday living expenses continue, and especially healthcare costs begin to naturally eat into that wealth. It's literally the intended purpose of the money, but man, it changes the math entirely.
Section 6, the psychology twist. So we've looked at all the raw data, but now we really need to talk about why these numbers carry so much emotional weight.
51%. More than half of all Americans do not even know how to calculate their own net worth. They have absolutely no idea where they actually stand. And honestly, it's because money has always been such a taboo topic in our culture. We don't talk about salaries with our friends, we don't discuss debt at the dinner table, and because of that silence, there's this quiet epidemic of financial anxiety out there. You simply cannot feel secure if you don't even know your own baseline. And that anxiety, it comes from a very specific place. People are comparing themselves to an illusion on Instagram rather than comparing themselves to grounded, actual data. We log on and we see this carefully curated highlight reel of everyone else's supposed wealth. We completely forget that half those luxury sports cars are just leased for the afternoon, and those designer clothes might be sitting on a maxed out credit card. Social media is theater, period. But the data, the real median numbers we just walked through together, that tells the true, much more grounded story of what normal life actually looks like. But here is a highly optimistic reality check for you. Positive 37%. Since 2019, even after accounting for the heavy inflation we have all felt at the grocery store, median household net worth has actually increased by 37%. That is the sharpest increase ever recorded in the data. No way, right? But it's true. If you feel like you've been constantly falling behind lately, the truth is, a lot of normal Americans are actually much further ahead financially than they were just a few short years ago. We are doing way better than we give ourselves credit for. So the absolute crucial point is this. Net worth isn't about your age. It's about your trajectory. Please burn this into your memory. The goal is never some static scoreboard. It's not about beating the person next to you or hitting some arbitrary made-up number by your 30th birthday. It is entirely about focusing on your own personal curve and ensuring you are consistently moving up that trajectory year after year. Section 7. Changing your trajectory. So how do we actually take action today? Well, it breaks down into 2 very simple steps to alter your financial future. Step 1, know your number. You cannot manage what you do not measure. I highly recommend using a secure budgeting or wealth app to track your net worth automatically across all your accounts. It takes just minutes to link everything up, and honestly, seeing that single number go up or down each month will completely change how you think about your spending. Okay, step 2, get your money working. Invest it. Once you know your baseline, you have to put those dollars to work. There are plenty of fantastic, super accessible platforms out there today where you can literally start investing with as little as $5 by buying fractional shares of major companies. The whole magic of compounding interest means that every $5 invested today works for you tomorrow. It has literally never been easier to get started. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question. Are you moving up the curve or are you standing still? I would really love to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments and let me know, honestly. Are you above or below the median for your group? Let's see how our community of focused learners actually stacks up against the data. And hey, if this explainer gave you a bit of a wake-up call, good. That is exactly the point. Be sure to join me next week because I'll be breaking down another highly requested explainer, the exact retirement savings rate you need to hit at every single age to secure a comfortable future. You definitely won't want to miss that one. Until then, keep climbing that curve.